These creatures began projecting scenes in front of his eyes while informing him that this information was reserved for the dying and the dead. First, they showed me the planet Earth as it was aeons ago. Before there was any life on it, I saw an ocean of barren land and a bright... I could see the specks were actually large, shiny black creatures with stubby, pterodactyl-like wings and huge whale-like bodies. They explained to me in a kind of thought language that they were fleeing from something out in space. They had come to the planet Earth to escape their enemy. The creatures then showed me how they had created life on the planet in order to hide within the multidinous forms, how to hide in multiple forms, and thus disguise their presence. Before me, the magnificence of plants and animal creation. Oh, thank you, Mushroom Queen. Before me, the magnificence of plant and animal creation and speculation. Hundreds and millions of years of activity took place on a scale and a vividness impossible to describe. I learned that the dragon-like creatures were thus inside all forms of life, including man. Silhouettes, what's up? Thank you for that $2, brother. Ganja, thank you for that.
Hey, brother, how are you today?
What do I get for $100? That's some cool handmade bags made from these indigenous women. If you donate $100, I'll send you one. But this blows my mind. Basically, this guy had this ayahuasca vision saying that these giant serpents came down from space to hide from their enemy, and they've camouflaged themselves into all life. And it's insane when all life actually has these serpent-like DNA structures inside of them. And if you think about sperm, it's like this little tiny worm thing. And if you think about who we actually are, we're not our body, right? Our body is a shield for the nervous system. If you look at what the nervous system is, it's basically a serpent. It's just a tail. It's just this, your spine and a bunch of nerves. We are these serpent beings that have human shells. Isn't that interesting? This guy had a vision of reptilian creatures explaining that they exist in all life. That's basically DNA talking to itself. Maybe David Icke isn't wrong about the reptiles, and the reptilians did actually create life. How crazy would that be? How crazy would it be if these alien-like reptiles have microscoped themselves into DNA and manifested through all these different forms? And that's why when we smoke DMT or when we take high doses of mushrooms, we come in contact with a serpent being. They call ayahuasca Mother Ayahuasca. The serpent, they call it the serpent of the jungle. It's interesting, right? What are snakes then? I mean, I don't think they're literal snakes. I think that's just the only language we have to describe it. Even Moses carried around a staff with a serpent on it, and it represented wisdom. The serpent represents wisdom. What did the serpent give Adam and Eve? He gave them wisdom, free will, identity. Think about this. God wanted us, the God of the Bible, Yahweh. Okay, so a lot of people get mad when I say this, but I think Yahweh, the God of the Bible, is the actual devil. And I think somehow, if we take on the position that people believe in dark things. I mean, like I said, I just got from Mexico. I saw that people actually do worship the devil. I think that it's flipped. I think that Yahweh is the devil. And I think that the snake is actually the good guy. I know it's a bizarre thing to say because we've been so conditioned to not think that. But let me elaborate. Yahweh, the God of the Old Testament, wanted us to remain animalistic, primitive, unaware of our potential, lost in our animal self. But the serpent tempted us to explore. The serpent tempted us to ask who we are. The serpent gave us knowledge, the forbidden fruit of knowledge. Eat of the fruit of knowledge, the serpent said. Tempted Eve. And the woman gave it to man, created man. Created temptation together. Duality. Duality. See, this is right here is another brilliant symbol in the story of Adam and Eve that people ignore. This is a brilliant symbol in Adam and Eve. The symbol is that duality creates desire. Yeah? And duality is masculine and feminine. That's why you get Adam and Eve. You get masculine and the feminine side. And Adam and Eve is actually God, and how we've got it twisted, how they've convinced us that it's the opposite. It's not the opposite. Yahweh is a God of sacrifice. He killed his own son. He wanted Abraham to murder his own son. I mean,